Yo, bros, it's the audio guy, though. Brain44 coming at you with another podcast episode of Downloadable Brain. Christmas Eve, we're jumping into a movie review. I'm going to watch and review the movie Dear Santa, not because I choose to celebrate Christmas. As a matter of fact, the only reason I want to see this movie is because I really hate Christmas now. It's due to having negative experiences, and I just thought the best way to express my defiance for this ugly tradition is to watch Dear Santa out of spite for that prick Saint Nick. Before I get into the movie review, I just have to explain myself. Choosing to review this has nothing to do with the actor Jack Black, but if you want my personal opinion on Jack, I'm a fan and I really like his acting. I also wrote a Christmas diss, which I'm going to finish up later on today. I just thought this would be the perfect way to kick things off before we get to the halftime show, which is the diss of St. Nicholas. But I've been putting out these different things, showing how much I dislike Christmas now. I did a beer review and briefly ran through the movie A Christmas Carol, as well as diss St. Nick a few times, leading up to the next diss I post, which will be a full song. However, I need to again remind people it's not directed towards the actor Jack. So when I say that fat fuck Santa is a dick, yeah, I'm not talking about Jack Black. I'm a fan of Jack Black. I'm talking about the actual pagan Santa character, Kris Kringle, the bitch boy Kris Kringle. And it stems from having a father that plays Santa every year treat me like an absolute piece of garbage, but then puts on this jolly whole character where he's nice to everybody, even complete strangers, but he treats his son like garbage. And regarding this movie, yeah, I'm a fan of Jack Black myself, but I wouldn't want Jack stumbling across my work because I don't like getting a lot of attention. Now, the average person, that's what we do. We want people to see us. And when I first got started on social media, yeah, I used to think that way. I remember back in the day, I may have dropped a few comments on Jack's TikTok, whatever I was using it at the time. And I don't think it would be important to do that anymore because I really dislike TikTok and I hate getting attention. Anyways, why I diss Santa isn't related to the actor at all. It's a straight up diss on just having bad experiences with every Christmas and not having a family that really wants me to be around. My father would always be a mean son of a bitch to me, but he'd be the nicest guy in the world to somebody who is a complete stranger, but he takes out all his problems out on me behind the scenes. So my hatred for Christmas not only stems from my abusive father, who never supported anything I do, but my entire family who chooses to put themselves in a league above me while treating me like I need to perform to win an Oscar for them so they will like or respect me. And the last Christmas I had, I became so irritated with my family that I had to separate myself from the room. Then the people we had over stole a couple things out of my house, including my identity, and I wanted to bring that up. If y'all want to hear the story I posted, check out the Bah Humbug episode, where I declare myself to be the Grinch. That was last year, but I feel as if I'm more along the lines of Ebenezer. He understands that making his money was more important than his fake family trying to rip off his wealth and riches. So they say, I'll love you for a 20. And he says, $0 charity donation. That's a rock star move, my guy. I'm basically Ebenezer because my family, maybe even people in my community or this platform, anywhere, are no different. Not to say everybody is the same, but let's get things going with this movie review, baby view. Pull up your coveralls if you come with a Gold Star family and make sure to keep your head up so that I don't have to slap your bitch ass in the face. Sick your boathouse, pussy. That's for a sci-fi character. It's not anybody who's actually has the name Sergey. It's a different movie, y'all. You had to be there, but I just got going with this movie. It's basically mirroring my life. This kid gets his parent to start working on him at a young age. They call him stupid when he's really young, so that if they say it enough times, he might become a little bit slow with his thinking. And the kid doesn't slow down, but everybody makes sure they intentionally misunderstand him in his life. They look at him as a weirdo, an outsider. Well, he's the boss energy that walks into the room, and you can see it. His love for cats won't woo the ladies like I do when I get together with a girl and talk cats, but you get the idea. Hey, I'm not just a cat boy. I'm not a loner. I'm not slow. People need to prove a point with me, and they make themselves look dumb a lot of the times doing it because a lot of the times I might be more intelligent than the one who has something to prove with me. And they needed me to become this role of a slow, mentally challenged kid with mental health issues. It's a role I could never become because it's not true. Now, the kid's teacher at school is a real dumbass. He says whatever pleases his ego the most and takes comfort in manipulating the kid. Maybe because he thinks he's naive or foolish or just doesn't see it, but he does. He's just like, fuck all these people, man. This ain't shit. They all understand me, but they just make sure they misunderstand. I'm the boss energy, but they need to appear like they don't know I'm the boss energy. Because if they can all become the lie at my expense, it makes me nothing but the slow dumbass that they gave the role to sacrifice my potential and worth for this teacher who has a very punchable face because he's a bitch boy and narcissist is not something in the cards for me. Also, I need to say that even though I have my personal beliefs and I'm calling this a pagan Santa, the pagan Santa is just being honest. Don't ever sit down with a Catholic for a game of rummy. Trust me, they are in a league above paganism, and it's not religion, it's total psychosis. Science needs to cancel the teacher immediately. He's ugly. I know he loves the sound of his voice as much as I love mine, but let's keep the movie going. I'm not going to put on any generic country songs, and I won't pour you a shot. So the classmate diagnoses the kid, says he has dyslexia. But hey, you might say somebody has dyslexia, then get hit by a bus 10 minutes later, right? You got to be careful with that shit, mine. And never mind your kinky sister, but you got to be careful with it, mine. I'm going to quickly rock a ballad of a gay Tony impression. Let me get into character for the role. Ooh, you look so handsome in that new suit. Thank you for stopping with pursuit, sexy man. That's Grand Theft Auto, the ballad of gay Tony. I didn't try too hard, I was just trying to play a gay character. Anyways, after the kid listens to that dickhead teacher with a punchable face run his bitch ass mouth, he leaves the pussy and discusses potentially writing a letter to Santa with his friend. His friend is no different than any of his classmates or his screw up family. No different than the idiotic teacher who has no business holding that job, but it's not a debate. I'm just stating my opinion based on the movie. He cuts the kid off when he's talking about having some sort of an asset and pulls an okie dokie, changing the subject to lasagna. Like lightning striking down from the heavens, firing two women from a news show. Ooh, it is what it is. But the secret sauce isn't destruction itself. It's acknowledgement through perseverance and flipping the rummy table over. What a tasty lasagna. Don't get fired, skanks. Anyways, let's continue the dances with cats. Let's continue. So my guy rolls up to a post box addressing his letter to Santa, but he accidentally spells Satan. Now, y'all damn well know pagan Santa was the ultimate message behind this film, but I get it. Listen, people can never understand what Satan is unless they see it, and this is something that was revealed to me so long ago that if I ever did have people in my life who were wishing bad things for me, I wouldn't have known, but the devil would. That's why he revealed himself to me. This might even be more interesting than reviewing the movie, and I don't want to over talk about my experience with it, but he came to me. He promised he would defeat me. Even when I did have literally everybody in my life treating me like shit, I would always show up and do what it is I want and intended to do. I just never sold my soul. If you listen to any of my work, whether you think I'm good or not, it comes from years of practice and hard work. I tell everybody I give God the credit for being who I am and having talent, but I mean, you guys didn't see me work my ass off on this stuff every day before I started getting on YouTube and releasing music. I would obsessively go at this for days and nights. One time I even went a few days without sleep, just working on and off on music obsessively. And I went from the point of having to work to pursue it too much to whenever I pick up a guitar or approach drums, now it doesn't take me long at all. And I didn't call on Satan for that, but the devil saw my potential before I reached my best, which is where I believe I'm at right now. I just didn't sell out. And I didn't become a victim either, so now you guys know who I really am. Back to the movie. He writes, Satan of the North Pole, drops the letter in the box. Then the letter floats down to hell. Sounds like a Canada Post delivery. Pagan Santa picks up the kid's letter and he says, well, y'all don't see this very often. Hey, y'all, this kid ain't me. I didn't write the devil. He showed himself to me a long time ago. I just came out of it better than ever. Once I realized even if my life was as shit as this kid's, even if the devil came at me, I knew I wasn't ever letting up or ever going down because I have fully mastered my ability and who I am. Anyways, Pagan Santa reveals himself to this kid. Jack does an awesome job on the character. I can't help but laugh because if Satan is playing Santa, you expect a dirty, rotten, abusive person to become a jolly and nice guy. But Jack Black nails the role because he's not nice. He's witty. He doesn't have good intentions, but he comes up looking like some sort of Viking character with Santa's colors. It's sort of different. He's conversing with the kid. The kid says, I thought you'd be jollier. He says to him, who the hell is jolly these days? And he was right. The kid mentions his physique as well as implies that he thinks he's fat. Pagan Santa responds, what, you don't put on a few extra pounds over the holidays? And he gets kind of offended by it. I gotta remind people again, all my dissing of Santa has nothing to do with Jack Black. But since I'm not skinny and everybody can see it, I mean, I know what it's like to be put down for being a certain weight. And people would expect the average person to lay in on you, but if you're a little overweight and a fat guy calls another fat guy fat, it's just funny because it's like an oxymoron. And when I started dissing Kris Kringle, calling him a fat fuck and all this other shit, I thought it was dramatic and too much. That's exactly why I did it. Because it's an oxymoron. And that was the whole intention behind my delivery. But I'm gonna tell you about being fat regarding me. I've been that way my entire life. If it was genetic, nobody ever explained it to me, but the reason why I aggressively call Santa a fat fuck is just stemming from different things. Dark humor, sort of releasing the energy of my hateful family and conforming to these not conforming to these holidays, but treating me like shit. So when a fat person calls Santa a fat fuck, even if it's too much and it's disrespectful, that's exactly why I did it. I wanted to be dramatic, but it's related to my father, not Jack Black. Would I ever say shit like this to anybody? No, I wouldn't. Certainly not Jack Black or even somebody who's overweight that isn't Jack, because why would a fat guy call another person fat? And why would I put down a guy who I'm a fan of? It's not even about Jack Black. But let's continue the movie. He says, kid, are you high? Let me see that letter again. Then he realizes he spelled Santa wrong and addressed his letter to Satan. Also, how coincidental is it that this entire movie is based off of a kid who can't spell? And a lot of the shit I talk about failing spelling bees is just telling bad jokes, but it's coincidental, not intentional. If it was intentional, you guys would know it, but it's like everybody naturally assumes everything is about them, and it's not. And I'll provide an example. You say the name Peter on the internet, then Peter Jackson himself, as well as Peter Pan and Pete Sandoval, as well as 20 other Petes, all hear the name Peter come up, so you have 23 Petes who all think you're talking about them when none of the things you are saying are even about them. That's hilarious, and I found out about this little thing by posting on Threads. I said a name that wasn't related to a guy who came out of nowhere and he was uttering threats at me, but I never heard of the guy before. I wasn't even thinking about him. Whoever I actually meant the message to be for probably saw it or heard it, but they just ignored it. And this other person comes out of nowhere when it's not even about them. This is where I have to say not all publicity is good publicity. If everything you say catches on to anyone and people don't even know what it's directed at. But I hate Christmas and I thought I'd give this movie a try. Pagan Santa talks about litigations. a litigations attorney or something, makes some jokes and tells the kid, I'll grant you 3 wishes. So come on, make a wish. Hey, tread carefully, kid. That sounds like a Wishmaster plot. The devil in the flesh trying to get this kid to sell out, Rose. I've already seen the devil and I didn't sell out, so I don't wish for shit now. I tell everybody you get a choice with me, but I'll never sell my soul. I'm kind of interested to see where this is going to go. So Satan got the kid to wish on getting with this girl. But hey, if you got to call on the devil to get laid, it's probably bad news. I get hated on all the time. I'd rather have a lot of women hate me than tell the devil to let me have a good time with somebody because somebody just wants to have a good time with you. And there's no second plan or secret behind enjoying your company. Because then it would be unrelated to the devil. You just have two people who are interested in each other. That's what makes a relationship or encounter worth embracing, or a friendship, whatever we're talking about. But the devil, calling on the devil to get laid, basically makes you a weepy milk drop with a backwards hat, looking like a bitch boy with sad eyes who didn't get beat up by his little cousin. But I digress. Let's keep going. It's a good thing nobody from a talk show is listening. They might not approve of my foul language, despite their fascinating hobbies and activities outside of a guy who drops a few swear words. The swear word guy is the villain, right? They were raised better than to swear. And disregard the fucked up shit these people do, but let's keep going. So I remember the devil gave this kid a chance with a girl who treated him like he didn't matter. Now he sees her again, she's suddenly into him. But he wrote to pagan Santa and he wished for it, right? If a woman showed me she hates me, I don't need to write to the devil about it. She already disliked me. What would change? Because I wouldn't budge on who I am or what I believe in, but pagan Santa has given this kid lots of pull. Now he can get her to go to a concert with him. They discuss the boyfriend situation and she says, oh, well, I broke up with him anyways, but he wasn't that nice. Wait a minute now. The trickster be tricking y'all. I can't make this shit up. So did the kid literally sell his soul or just summon some sort of a pagan religious figure? Because he wished a lot? I find in life if you never wish for anything, whatever is meant for you will eventually happen. I didn't wish for everybody to treat me like shit, but when I noticed coming back from a smear campaign, they're still competing with one. Did it stop people from somewhat showing me support? I just needed to work hard and be myself. This might not get me laid, but I'm not going to sell my soul either. Either people love me or they hate me. I don't waste time focusing on people I hate, but to each their own. The kid has a convo with pagan Santa. He walks away. Santa pulls some sort of a Matrix time-bending hocus pocus move, stops the kid dead in his tracks. He says, don't touch me. He says, I'm the devil, not a trusted relative. But the way we got a lot of those creepy uncle types down where I'm from, well, shit, bro. I haven't seen my uncles since like the 90s, but if any of my uncles ever did that shit, I'd love to send some of them to hell. I'd fuck some of them 6 different ways to Sunday, score a touchdown, just stay tuned for my halftime show. Because I do have a Santa Claus diss track coming, and I already explained my intentions with that. It's not about Jack, but now y'all know. He says, relax, kid, we're gonna do better if we work together. They talk about the girl he wished for, he sends them free tickets, and they debate it. Pagan Santa calls his game weak. Good thing this kid isn't me, man. He's never known what it's like to play chess, then become the definition of war itself. I'm just being dramatic, let's keep this going. He says, I want to call off our deal entirely. He says, no, you can't, you summoned me. I'm not trusting bro, yo. He says 2 more wishes, then he takes his soul, but wait. Me and this kid aren't playing the same at all. I just said that's not the way I do business. Either people want to work with me or they don't, but I can't do that Wishmaster shit. That's not going to work for me, dog. You feel me, dog? The screw-up teacher runs into them riding his bicycle. He approaches in bicycle shorts looking like a fruitcake. Pagan Santa, the kid and I are all in agreement that this man is boring and unimpressive. Then Pagan Santa says, I hope you don't develop irritable bowel syndrome. The fruitcake teacher, who shouldn't have a job, starts farting and everybody laughs. Hey, bro, if people talk about you behind your back, just fart. I hope the teacher doesn't get fired. I hope his secretary isn't let go. I hope his business doesn't get shut down in January. I hope that that woman's job doesn't die. Why doesn't her job just die already? I hope that she doesn't touch the unemployment line because the teacher doesn't know what it feels like to struggle finding a job, not knowing where you're going to go or how you're going to live. So don't get fired, Pookie. See what I did there? We're playing chess. I didn't wish for anything. I didn't wish bad on anybody. I said, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen is not a wish. Whether I low key imagine the worst for that teacher and his team or her team or not, doesn't mean I told Peg and Santa I'm selling out and using you to manifest their ending. Instead, I played chess. Didn't change who I am, and I remained neutral in the fact that maybe that retard in bicycle shorts did cause his own ending, and he keeps shitting himself until he eventually leaves. I was just happy I never got to see the guy again because he was bothering me, getting on my last nerve. The kid goes home to his parents, waiting for him with a psychologist. The psychologist starts to interview the kid regarding his experiences. His mentally unstable parents team up with the psychologist, who probably needs a mental health assessment of his own, to make the kid look bad, misrepresent his words, and intentionally team up against him. The kid's like me because we're in control of our anger and emotions, so we're not going to beat the psychologist's ass, right? Because if you ever did that shit to me, you probably should get a punch in the face from me, but especially if you wear bicycle shorts. Violence is not my way, y'all. So fuck off, asshole. I'm just fucking with you guys. Make sure in 2026 you're still employed, okay? Okay, good talk. Your employment didn't die today. The conversation goes back and forth. Parents play dumb, and the psychologist is there to damage control. He's a fruitcake and a weirdo. I've seen enough and I've heard enough. I don't have ADHD or OCD or anti-mental imbalances. This is just old news to me, so I glance to the background where, at least despite all this, a guitar hangs on the wall. I'd rather just play the guitar and have these people shut the fuck up. That's my take on it. Psychology starts choking. He's a douche, and I laugh at him. His friend shows up, talks about lying about chemotherapy so that he can get more attention for his fantasy football club. What a fucking idiot. Cancer ain't no joke. Who the fuck lies about having cancer? No wonder the kid doesn't keep friends around. They go to the concert. Peg and Santa briefly cracks a joke about a plane going down. But he says, who needs to share oxygen when a plane is about to crash, right? And then they high five each other. And I was feeling that. It was a pretty good joke, but don't nobody get into any plane crashes over the holidays, or don't get into any car wrecks, especially if you're an employed person of interest, because I'd hate to see you lose your job or lose your car. And I'm sorry that your job didn't die today. If your job doesn't die tomorrow as well, I'm not going to say, why didn't your job just die already? Why didn't you just get canceled already? Why didn't you just never work again already? Why don't you just have bad luck for eternity already? I didn't wish that or say that. Maybe you manifested it for yourself, but it is what it is. Pagan Santa told a pretty good joke. I'm not nearly as cynical as the Pagan Santa, though, and he knows that. I already told you guys I overcame this shit. The devil came to me a long time ago. But I haven't changed. I've only mastered myself without feeling I would have to sell out. If the devil owns this entire world, the devil is still not with me because he already knew once he broke me, I came back to achieve mastery and pick myself back up. And I don't give the devil credit for that. It's like working hard every day and never backing down. Just being a hardworking person who is able to persevere. That's why spell work doesn't work on me. And when people started actively practicing on me like some sort of a scientific study, don't get me started on who I can destroy. I'm just protecting them. But the backstage performer acts kind of weird. Pagan Santa says, don't ask how the sausage gets made, okay? Listen, you can tell that to the kid, but don't say it to me. I want to know exactly how the sausage gets made. And I probably already do, yet I don't eat sausages, so there you go. He gets bad seats because Pagan Santa said even Santa can't get one over on Ticketmaster. Yeah, the guys from Ticketmaster are basically in charge of the Federal Reserve. They literally print money from nothing and sell poverty back to us. I don't do concerts anymore, by the way. I'd love to play them again. That's not a wish, it's a statement. The concert is now going on. It's a concert. It's all right. Everybody's having a good time. The guy's voice is decent. He calls the kid up on stage to do a little two-step while bro performs. It's all right. People are so attached to this kid's extra attention. Now everybody suddenly loves him. What happened? Everybody was treating him like shit before. What changed for him and what did he do? Damn, yo, the kid doesn't do anything musical. He literally wrote to Pagan Santa and it hit the deep south. Pagan Santa helped him manifest the experience. But with me, man, people have been attacking me my whole life. Before I ever even knew the devil, people were still attacking me. Once the devil laid in on me, I realized I'd rather give people the answers they don't want to hear or just continue being myself, even if I'm hated for just being me. Yet, despite not folding easily, if you ask me to perform or play something good, you already know how cute Kimmy cooks. I don't need to prove myself anymore because it's already been done. People can rock with me or hate on it, but I'm going to outperform dances with cats because I've been a musician for most of my life. When I say that, I mean the kid, not Pagan Santa or even Jack Black. Jack Black is probably a better player than I am, but I wouldn't compare myself to him or attempt to compete with him. I like his movies and I've heard a few of his songs. I never had anything bad to say about the guy. Dances on his iPod with his fake ass cancer boy friend are having a conversation. You know, the one who says he has cancer to get clout, and the clout chaser who lies about cancer downplays that dances with cats, kiss the girl. It doesn't matter. Somebody who lies about having cancer doesn't impress me any more than somebody who goes to a music show and doesn't play music. It is what it is. Bicycle shorts, it is what it is. They continue to discuss the situation. Says he's going to kiss her on the lips next time. I mean, okay. Careful with some of these girls who be wilding out. Pagan Santa starts making noises like a pterodactyl or something. He's funny. They continue the three-wish conversation. He says if he makes 3 wishes, he gets a soul, and he's convinced the kid to make a second wish. Uh-oh. I told you guys, man, you can't do that unless you are willingly going to destroy yourself. If you lose your soul, what do you have left? I'm inspired to never wish for anything again, only give people choices, because when I'm not wishing for you, either you want me there or you don't. But if I'm not wishing for you at all and you're there with bad intentions, it's best we just part ways, and that is why all of my music projects have failed. Because it was never about the music. When I do it myself, nobody can fuck with me. But would I like help? Sure. Would I work with other people? Sure. I will never wish it to the point where I put up my soul for devilry and become something less than what I am now. So either we're rocking or we're not rocking, but I'm not going away. Sorry, I don't want to attach myself too much to this movie, but it keeps hitting the feels. I feel like I can really relate. I don't know what the next wish was yet for him, but everybody is acting different suddenly when he goes to school. I know Pagan Santa did something. Later in the evening, everybody in the pretty city is treating him like a rock star. The showing up to a music show to not play music gets you brownie points. I don't want to compete with this little kid, man. I'm just saying. If I showed up to a music show, I'd play some music. But if I ever end up assembling a lineup, I'm not just going to play one show. I'd be going at this stuff nonstop. Pagan Santa asks him, why aren't you taking credit for what you did for your buddy? He replies, why should I? Then Pagan Santa responds, the only reason to do stuff for other people is to get the credit. So then they owe you something. He says, what about doing something nice for a person because you care about them out of kindness? Pagan Santa responds, I don't even know what you just said. I never heard those words in that order. And he loads up his corn dog with mustard. My guy has that mustard bottle dispenser in his wardrobe, like he's in communication with Colonel Mustard or something. Hey, as a war general with bass playing, I can respect that. Next scene, he's not with his friend. He's with Pagan Santa. They are watching the kid who fakes having cancer pick up the girl he wished for in the first place. This doesn't at all surprise me, and I knew a guy like that once. Some chick ran a con on me. I got out of the situation, and she got together with my friend after I left. I didn't become jealous, I just stayed away. He also tried to get me to become jealous by getting together with some other broad who was hating on me, hoping it would upset me and that I would become jealous if he had a kid with her or got married to her. I don't know what it was. I don't give a fuck. Go behind my back and fuck my cousin. I wouldn't talk to my cousin. I haven't seen my cousin since the 90s. I'd have no reason to, but if my cousin talks to people who I no longer talk to, or they talk to people I used to associate with, whether it's intentional or not, I'm not jealous. I don't give a fuck. But the fake cancer patient is scoring a lot of points with the girl he wanted. My opinion is train yourself to never want anybody. Then if nobody wants to rock with you, you won't be disappointed. Anyways, they part ways and he's staying at the Motor Inn in room 666. I would have never guessed that would be the devil's number. Now we know. I came up with my own number, by the way, and I'll tell you guys. It's number 35. All it means is I separate myself from the crowd and stay true to who I am. And I wasn't trying to prove a point with it, but I came up with 35 just to put myself into a different category because I don't want to be placed in categories. I just want to be me. All it really means is I got used to doing things on my own, and I wouldn't chase after what most people would do anything to get. If you ask me if I like getting a lot of attention, it's always going to be the same answer. I hate it as much as people who hate the idea of my success, but if it follows me anyways, I no longer have to prove it to y'all. I will simply show you. Anyways, it's not about me. The kid has it out with his parents, story of my life. He goes up to his room and slams the door. Then the parents have a conversation feeling sorry for themselves. The guy's wife apologizes to him for never getting a pony as a kid. Suck it up, you fucking baby. Not everybody is born with a silver spoon. Especially me, but if we're rocking out, More Trouble in Paradise from Liam. That's the kid's name in this movie. He's fighting with his friend who fakes cancer to get girls, because who wouldn't fight with a person like that? He knocks on Pagan Santa's door and invites him inside. Pagan Santa was doing some sort of like a disco yoga. He's dressed in some sort of spandex workout attire, and I can't lie, that's the funniest scene of the movie. I lost it. There's little extra things going on I just decided to leave out, but I do notice everything and I do catch everything. And that's just for the record, in case people were unaware. But he says his third wish is for his parents not to get a divorce. Pagan Santa says, usually I'm pro-divorce, but I think I can make that happen. Yeah, if we take notes on divorces, specifically in Hollywood, the charts would be out of this world if you look at divorce rates. But you don't even need to be famous or be in Hollywood to destroy your marriage and get divorced. Maybe that's why it happens so often. The devil's in charge of this world. Okay, I'm inspired. Just never get married, because my idea of what I thought it was and what it is are two different things. Much like everything in life, but hey, let things simply be. Exist in it and you'll be all right. More of these weird-ass parents playing victims, wanting sympathy. I don't even know what this is. The devil basically manifested into the kid's life. The parents want sympathy for manifesting the devil at the kid's expense, and now they're acting like victims. That's how I'm seeing it. And the parents made sure they did a terrible job with him and felt comfortable when he was losing, so they don't expect to see him win. All right, what's the kid's third wish? I don't know. The teacher's acting weird again in the classroom, and I basically hate him in every aspect. His face, the way he talks, the way he thinks, his actions, his shitty lessons that don't accomplish anything good for the student. I get tired of this guy. I hope he doesn't ever end up like Kevin Spacey, man. Then the house of cards would certainly fall, but you also can't say I wished it. Life is life, fate is fate, and what the universe has in store for you is what shall be. So if this guy goes homeless tomorrow and he never works again, I didn't wish it. Just like I didn't wish if this psychotic mad woman who wonders why her employment just doesn't die, then she drives around and she gets fired tomorrow. and her employment dies and she doesn't get work. And she'd say, "Why won't my employment just die?" And she'll scream it to the heavens. "Why won't my employment just die?" Because you just got fired, because you weren't as important as you thought you were. But I didn't wish it. You play around with that devil energy and you'd be surprised what you come up with. I feel like regarding this teacher, his whole shtick is to intentionally be as big of a douchebag as possible, to the point where you can't stand the guy so much that you just got to remove yourself from the room. I can't say it doesn't hit close to home when you've got family like mine, but let's keep it going. It shows pagan Santa in hell arguing with the devil. The devil tells him the kid is too pure to sell his soul. He debates. The devil basically says, "How am I supposed to work with a good person?" And pagan Santa couldn't give him an answer. He tells him it was a false contract under false pretenses. Therefore, it has become null and void. When pagan Santa goes back to talk again, he says, "I can't take your soul." And he makes him realize he didn't have to. He was just standing up for himself. But he says the kid went too hard on Charlie Brown. Is there ever such a thing as going too hard on Charlie Brown? I can go off on Charlie Brown for all of eternity, but what's the point? The material just writes itself, but let's discuss pagan Santa's true identity. He was not the devil himself, but a lower level demon, according to the way he explains it to the kid. I've seen the dark serpent and I've seen the demon, but now I can't see them at all because they aren't with me anymore. I guess that's just because of who I am and what I believe in. He says the kid's candy ass wishes banishes him from hell. He apologizes, and pagan Santa says that's all right. Hell isn't all it's cracked up to be. Wow, talk about your horrible bosses. Oh shit, bro, careful calling the master you serve a bad boss. That's for the demon, not actually Jack Black the actor, but see, for me, bad bosses just intentionally stopped me from getting promoted, and they treated me like shit until I quit. Though if you consider yourself somewhat of a freelancer like me when you're really creative, if you've got people attempting to sabotage you, it's not having a bad boss. They didn't want to give you anything, they just invested in working against you. But I didn't sign anything or agree to any deals, so it wouldn't make any sense to make it out of to be anything extra. He wishes him a Merry Christmas, admits he enjoyed hanging out with the kid, and he says the fake cancer patient could basically open a bottle of beer with his choppers. I know a woman like that, who I like to call Sabretooth, by the way. Her teeth were always really yellow, she's nosy, she's in everybody's business, and she's got a really big mouth. She can't stop talking about her materialistic possessions. Somebody who is asking way too many questions about what I have going on in my personal life that I rarely ever saw, but when I did see them, they act like some sort of an investigative journalist that's going to use my information against me. But yeah, just crack open a steam whistle with them choppers, Sabretooth, and get the fuck out of here. But kid asks pagan Santa, "What you gonna do for Christmas?" He says, "Usually I order Chinese." I feel you, dog. I'm a sucker for some Oriental. And I gotta have me my smoked Korean. But in the ending scene of the movie, the kid gets his wish. He wished for his brother back. All right, I admit. I lower my guard just a little bit and admit it got me in my feels. Having a brother would have been something truly amazing for me. I really do have one. I just never got to experience it. And that's okay because I've accepted him for who he is, and I've accepted myself for who I am, and we're not the same. So, all right, the movie was funny. It gave me something to think about. I didn't weep or become jealous to see the kid hug his brother, have another brother to enjoy his life with. I just acknowledged that it's something that was never in the cards for me. That's okay because life goes on. It shows the father acting weird like some sort of a mental patient. His wife enables his childish behavior. He says, "You got me a pony." And he wears this awful looking Christmas hat, ugly Rudolph shirt that lights up, and his voice cracks like a kid who's approaching puberty. But he's like 70, man. Okay, where I'm gonna end it is I can't say the words Merry Christmas because that would mean I'm celebrating it. My experiences taught me never to celebrate any holidays again or even birthdays because every day is the same. To treat any other day differently just means we pick and choose which days to pretend like we want people around versus having somebody around you because you want to be around them, not because you would sacrifice them or whatever it is we're talking about here. Before I end it, I just want to say that little puberty voice where the actor's voice cracked, it was probably intentional for him. But one time I did a vocal track where I was rapping really fast and my voice did crack. So it sounds like I'm just hitting puberty, but I'm 40 and I left the original vocals in there. So the puberty voice is on that vocal track. Anyways, that's where I'm going to end this review. I'm not going to say Merry Christmas because you all know I'm Ebenezer. Last year's episode, I related myself to the Grinch. Now I'm Ebenezer. I'm just focused on my money and working hard. Have a good one, y'all.